On this channel lately, I've been discussing two premier fighters that have won titles in the 140 division. So that's the light welterweight division. I was discussing Devin Haney, who beat Progress last week or last weekend, and he won the WBC title. And I was discussing Teofimo Lopez, who won the WBO title when he beat Josh Taylor in his last fight. But there's one fighter that a lot of people have been taking notice of, who a lot of fight fans want to be in the mix, but unfortunately might not be in the mix. And that fighter is Subriel Mantias. Now, the thing about Mantias is he managed to win an IBF title, right? So he's definitely in the mix. You got obviously other fighters in the mix like Romero. I think he's got the WBA title. You got obviously Teofimo Lopez. You got Devin Haney, who's got the WBC title. But Subriel Matias, he's got the IBF title, and it's not likely that he's likely to actually get a shot against them, because he's in a position where he's not a marketable fighter, but he's very high risk, low reward. So to put it into perspective, I think in his last 5 fights, he's made fighters quit, right? They literally threw in the towel, and he's managed to avenge a loss that he had against Petros Ananion, and he managed to win a vacant IBF junior welterweight title. But the thing that I find funny about Mateus is there's one fight that he reminds me of, and the paradoxical thing is, for some reason, Puerto Ricans have really taken to other fighters before they've even taken to Subriel Mantias. One of the most popular fighters in Puerto Rican boxing culture was Felix Trinidad. When Felix Trinidad was coming up, he was coming up during the same time as Oscar de la Hoya. And at the time, he was seen as, I think at the end of his welterweight run, he was seen as one of the best welterweights ever. I think he made like 8 to 10 defenses of his welterweight titles, and he beat very good fighters at the time. Obviously, the Ricardo Mayorgas. I think he beat several good fighters. Obviously, when he beat Oscar de la Hoya, a lot of people thought that that was a bit of a contentious decision. But the point I'm trying to make is at welterweight, Felix Trinidad was this absolute monster. And then obviously he went up to middleweight. He managed to win a title at middleweight. He beat William Joppy. And obviously, eventually, he ended up losing to Bernard Hopkins, and the rest was history. But the comparison I'm trying to make is I feel like Mateus kind of reminds me of Felix Trinidad. Now, Felix Trinidad, I feel like when people talk about Mateus, they talk about his lack of technique. Like he's a fighter who throws a lot of punches. He hits very hard. Obviously, you can see by how he's made all of his opponents quit in their last 5 fights. And not only did he make all of these opponents quit, all of these opponents were undefeated before he made them quit. So he's made undefeated fighters all quit in his last 5 fights. All of them, none of them have seen the end of the fight. And on top of that, I think it was said that he actually killed one of his opponents. His name is called Maxim Dazhashev. I don't know if I mispronounced that, but yeah. So this guy was an absolute animal. Like, honest to God, Mateus is that fighter that I think everyone is scared to actually fight. And every time he gets into the ring, it just seems like he's getting more ferocious. And the thing that I find frightening about him is with most fighters, if they've killed an opponent in the ring or they've done major brain damage to them, they tend to slow down. I think it's called having a conscience. Like, you saw the same thing happen with Chris Eubank Sr. after he injured Michael Watson in their fight. He lost his killer instinct and he stopped trying to stop opponents. But with Mateus, after he injured and killed an opponent in the ring, it doesn't seem to have slowed him down. In fact, in his last 5 fights, it seems like he's become more ferocious, and he's become a fighter who obviously won the title after killing an opponent. So it shows you that this guy's got no mercy, and he's going to come for you. But the thing I find interesting about him is Puerto Ricans haven't really taken to him. Now, you got other fighters that have coming up that Puerto Ricans have taken to, like Xander Corvez, this prospect that's come up. And I think there was another like middleweight prospect that they were talking about that's going to be the next future for Puerto Ricans. But Subriel Mantias, for some reason, the Puerto Rican public haven't really taken to him, and I don't really understand why. The reason why I don't understand why is because He's a puncher. He's exciting. He's Puerto Rican, but not only that, he's pure Puerto Rican. Like, this is a guy that actually grew up in Puerto Rico. So I don't understand why he doesn't have a huge following, like other fighters that I've mentioned before. There's similarities between them two. They're both punchers, but the thing that I find interesting about Mateus is the fact that even though even though he doesn't have the most correct technique and he takes a few punches to land his own, he tends to throw arm punches. So he doesn't seem like he puts his whole body into the shot. He throws punches from awkward angles, but they tend to be arm punches in the sense that he literally doesn't put his legs, his shoulders, his hips into the shot. But despite that, he's still devastating and hurting his opponents. Well, if you look at someone like Felix Trinidad, he used to have pure leverage in his shots. When he used to knock opponents out with his punching power, it literally used to come from the ground up. Even Mike Tyson, if you look at Mike Tyson, a young Mike Tyson, his power used to come from his legs, from his feet, from his legs, all the way upwards, and he used to knock his opponents out. But with Subriel Mantias, even though he throws a lot of punches, he hits really hard, and he throws a lot of arm punches. He's still devastating, and he's finding a way to hurt all of his opponents. So, yeah, I think Subriel Mantias is a very interesting addition into the light welterweight division, the 140 division. But unfortunately, he's in a position where he doesn't have as much of a fan following. So I'll be honest, I don't think the other champions like Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney are going to want to get into the ring with this guy, because this guy's an absolute animal. So, yeah, tell me what you think. Do you see comparisons between Felix Trinidad and Subriel Mantias? I see some comparisons. The fact that they're both punchers, the fact that they're both born in Puerto Rico, the fact that they're both more than willing to, like, Felix Trinidad didn't have the best defense. He did used to get hit with a few shots, and I feel like Mateus is the same way. They both don't have the best defense, but in a paradoxical way, Felix Trinidad's got the backing of his people, while Subriel Mantias, for some reason, the Puerto Ricans, he doesn't have a massive following in Puerto Rico the way Felix Trinidad did. But anyway, that's just my opinion. What do you think about him? I think he's a great addition to the 140 weight class, but unfortunately, I just don't. I think he's so dangerous that I don't think any of the champions or contenders are going to want to get into the ring with him. But the beautiful thing is he's managed to win a title, so he's got a bit of bargaining power there. Somebody who wants to get the title is going to have to fight him. So, yeah, tell me what you think below about him. Do you think the other champions will get into the ring with him, or do you just not see it happening? Tell me what you think, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace.